Some places don't disappear all at once. They fade, first from maps, then from memory, and finally from reality itself. I didn't know that the night I pulled into a roadside diner glowing like a lighthouse in the middle of nowhere. I was tired, hungry, and desperate for coffee. Nothing unusual about that. Truckers live on places like diners. They're supposed to be safe, familiar, anchors in the dark. But the moment I stepped inside, something felt off, like I'd walked into a memory instead of a building. The air was too still, the lights hummed like they were struggling to stay on, and everyone inside looked at me the exact same way, as if they'd been waiting. I didn't find out until days later that the diner I ate in had burned down over 20 years ago. No foundation, no ruins, no record of it ever reopening. And yet, I remember the taste of the coffee. I remember the waitress calling me by name. I remember the receipt still folded in my pocket when I woke up the next morning on the side of the highway. If you ever find yourself driving late and you see a diner that feels too welcoming, too warm, too perfectly placed, don't stop, because some places don't serve food, they serve endings. I've been on the road for nearly 11 hours when I saw the sign, a simple whiteboard nailed to 2 posts, hand-painted letters peeling from the wood, E.A.T. hot open all night. No name, no logo, just an arrow pointing down a gravel side road that didn't appear on my GPS. I almost passed it. Almost. But my eyes burned from exhaustion and my stomach twisted with hunger, and when you're that tired, logic becomes optional. I turned off the highway, gravel crunching under my tires, and followed the road as it dipped between trees that leaned in too close, their branches brushing the roof of my cab like fingers testing a door. The diner appeared suddenly, lights blazing in the darkness, windows fogged from the inside, a long, low building with a chrome exterior dulled by age, neon buzzing faintly above the entrance. Diner, just that, no name. The parking lot was full of cars that looked wrong somehow, old, too old. I parked, shut off the engine, and for a moment just sat there listening to the ticking of cooling metal. The forest around the diner was silent. No insects, no wind, just the low hum of electricity. Inside, the smell hit me first, grease, coffee, and something sweet underneath like burned sugar. Every booth was occupied, every seat at the counter filled. Conversation stopped the second I stepped in. Dozens of eyes turned toward me in perfect unison. Then, just as suddenly, everyone looked away and the noise resumed like nothing had happened. A bell chimed above the door behind me. I told myself I was imagining things. A waitress approached, already holding a mug. "Long drive," she said, setting it down in front of me before I even sat. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "You always stop here." I froze. "I've never been here before." She tilted her head slightly. "That's not what you said last time. I chose a booth near the window. The menu was laminated, edges cracked, prices written in faded ink that didn't make sense. No dollar signs, just numbers. I ordered eggs and coffee." She nodded like she already knew. As she walked away, I noticed something strange. Her feet didn't make any sound on the floor. Neither did anyone else's. I tried to look out the window, but the glass reflected the interior instead of the night. The people behind me were watching again, not openly, side glances, reflections in silverware. Their faces looked tired, not sleepy, worn, like they'd been carrying something heavy for a long time. An old man at the counter met my eyes and shook his head once, very slowly. The food arrived instantly, too fast. The eggs were hot, the coffee burned my tongue, everything tasted real. That scared me more than if it hadn't. The waitress leaned close as she refilled my mug. "You shouldn't stay long," she whispered. "You didn't last time." I asked her what she meant. She straightened, smiled back in place. "Cash only," she said. "Always has been." The clock on the wall said 2:17 a.m. It didn't move. I watched the second hand tick and tick and tick, never advancing. The conversations around me grew quieter, words stretching, slowing until they sounded wrong, like speech underwater. My phone had no signal, no time, just a black screen that reflected my face and something standing behind me. I stood up so fast the booth rattled, the diner went silent. Every head turned toward me again. The old man at the counter whispered, "Don't run." The door wouldn't open. The bell didn't ring. The waitress appeared beside me, her grip iron strong on my arm. "You can't leave until you finish," she said gently. "Finish what?" She looked around the room. "Your stop." The lights flickered. For a split second, the diner changed. Walls blackened, windows shattered, smoke stains crawled across the ceiling. I smelled fire, heard screaming, then everything snapped back to normal. The waitress's smile trembled. "We don't get many visitors anymore," she said. "Most people don't see us." Yanked free and slammed my shoulder into the door. This time it opened. Cold night air rushed in. I ran to my truck, hands shaking so badly I dropped the keys twice. As I pulled away, I looked back. The diner was gone. No building, no lights, just an empty clearing and a single rusted sign lying in the dirt. I drove until sunrise. Later that day, at a rest stop, I mentioned the diner to another driver. His face went pale. He told me it burned down in 1999. Electrical fire. People trapped inside. No survivors. I laughed it off until I reached into my jacket pocket and found the receipt. Yellowed, brittle, dated 1998. Sometimes late at night, I smell coffee where there is none. Sometimes I see neon in my mirrors where there shouldn't be light. And sometimes, when I'm exhausted and the road feels endless, I swear I see a sign ahead that says, "Open all night." I don't stop anymore.